Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ladies Room Talk Show. I'm Clarissa Kenty, your Kingdom Concierge. Happy Monday, everyone. And I'm sure some of you have been off today and kind of relaxing and celebrating our amazing veterans. And we have three awesome vets that we're going to celebrate and honor tonight. But before we do that, I want to go back to last Monday. Now, we had a ball last Monday. Before COVID and all this other stuff, the ladies' room was really on the scene, going to do a lot of live remotes, bringing you into the front and center of events that's taking place in Alabama, in Birmingham, and in close states like Atlanta, Georgia, some Tennessee. We've been all over the place. And so we got to slow down a little bit because of COVID. But guess what? We're starting to pick that thing back up again. And what we decided to do on last Monday is that we partnered up with PC Media Tech. And so there's a new podcast that's on the scene. It's called Technique Podcast. And they joined forces with us on last Monday. We had a great live. We were at Prime Bar on the south side. They hosted that and allowed us to come in and set up. It was outside. We had a live audience that was there, and you were able to really hear them. And we had a great time, guys. It was so much fun. And the atmosphere was electric, and we were able to do everything outside. It was great. And the guests were really nice too. And so we really had a good time. And not only were we able to really introduce and interview the host of Technique Podcast, we were also able to bring in Terry Collins with SCLC and also District Attorney Danny Carr. Those two guys came in and was telling us the importance of voting, exercising our right to vote. It was an hour of 30 minutes of straight goodness on last Monday. And those guys came in and spent some time with us inside the ladies' room and really shared a lot of wealth of information, not just for voting, but really what we need to be educated on as we go forward in our country. So if you missed that show, go back and kind of scroll up a little bit and check out that live on last week. But big kudos to PC Media Tech's Courtney Woods and the host of Technique Podcast. We joined forces with them on last week and really had a great time. On yesterday, I had an opportunity to MC One Night in Harlem. Guys, we went all the way back to the Roaring 20s, and I had my little Roaring 20s outfit, my little hat, and all of the gloves and the pearls. Ooh, it was so much fun. Big hats off to Mark Raby, the owner and founder of Encore Theater and Gallery. There was a fundraiser on last night. So much great entertainment. We had people like Sharon Collins who came in. Sharon sings. She did an hour of great music. And let me tell you, those vocals are off the chart. Then we had an hour of comedy with Mrs. V herself, who came in and gave us some great comedy. Enjoyed that as well. So I think it was a really good turnout. Michael's Restaurant, of course, one of my favorite Black-owned restaurants in Birmingham. It was hosted there, and they just flipped that whole restaurant into the 20s. And it was really nice. And so I was able to kind of give you a little bit snippets of what was taking place at Michael's on last night. But hey, gave me an opportunity to dress up a little bit, and I really enjoyed it. So again, great event, great fundraiser with Encore Theater and Gallery, the only Black-owned theater gallery in the state of Alabama. So let's continue to support them. They're still taking donations. They had a silent auction on last night, but they're still taking donations because we need to do what we can to keep our Black businesses strong and afloat. They're a nonprofit organization, which means that they need our support, financial support, and any other way that we can support them as well. So certainly if you want to go out there and donate to them, you can go to $Encore Birmingham. That's $Encore Birmingham and support their efforts. So now tonight, hey, we're going to celebrate some great veterans tonight. I am so excited to be able to celebrate them. We're going to start with the ladies first. We got Marsha Crawford in the building. She's no stranger to the ladies' room. Marsha, welcome back to the ladies' room.
Hello. Thank you for having me again in the ladies' room.
Yes, you always bring the fire. You always bring the flair. So I am so excited about you being with us tonight. And I like your shirt. Tell us what your shirt says.
Yes, it says mom, veteran. Let's see here. Let me you say mom, grandmom, and veteran. Nothing scares me.
I love it. We're going to talk a little bit more about that t-shirt. I love that. I love it. And you're going to be in talking about being a veteran. You're an Army veteran. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we celebrate you. So welcome back to the Ladies Room Talk Show. We got Wash Hill in the building. Wash, first time inside the Ladies Room Talk Show. When I told Wash, I said, hey, Wash, welcome to the Ladies Room. He started laughing. I'm sure he's never been welcomed to the Ladies Room before.
Oh, not at all.
Welcome. We're excited about you being here, and we're excited about celebrating you tonight. And we certainly hope that this won't be the last time that you hang out with us inside the Ladies Room. So welcome. Last but not least, we got Mr. John Sanders himself. John is like my big brother, and we've been knowing each other for a very long time. And he has promised me, y'all, that he is going to be good. Now, we know, those of you who know John Sanders, you know this is very difficult for him. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed and my hands clasped in prayer, believing that he's going to be true to his word and be good tonight. So, John, you know what? This is your first time being in the Ladies Room.
Yes, it is. And I'd like to thank you for the invitation. And I will try to be on my best behavior.
I certainly hope that you will. If not, I'm going to talk to the executive producer about censoring your particular feed. How about that? So we're excited to have these vets, guys. We have Marsha, who is an Army veteran. We have John also, who is an Army veteran. And then Wash is representing the Navy. So we're excited that these operatives are here. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. You know, I am so excited that we're celebrating you today. I wish we would do this more than just one day, because certainly we're not able to do what we do freely without your dedication and without your service and without you deciding to say, hey, I'm going to serve my country and I'm going to do this and put my life on the line for the sake of the U.S., for the sake of the citizens. And so, you know, that wasn't my calling. God didn't lead me in that path. God led me in another path. And so when I look and I think about people who have done these types of things, I'm like, wow, you know, you have to be called to do it. So, Marsha, I'm going to start with you. What was it that said, hey, I want to serve my country? How are you even moved to do that?
I'm actually a third generation. It started with my grandfather from World War II. And then I have uncles, you know, his sons from not only Korea, but also Vietnam. And not only my twin sister, we're the only females in that set of generation of 5 generations. We're the only females that have served in the military. All the rest of them are men. So, you know, I had a lot of male role models in the military that inspired me to want to serve and give back.
Well, you know, as being a female, and I'm sure at that time it wasn't as many women as they are today. Did you find it difficult to be able to serve in that time was very male dominated? Did you find it difficult to serve, or was it easy to do?
It's still difficulties with women serving in a male predominantly field. But I did have some people that my grandfather during World War II used to always talk about. I know they got a movie coming up in December called the 6888 that talks about the women in World War II, a whole all-black battalion brigade that served during the World War II, what a lot of people didn't even know women even served during that time. And then you got, of course, during the time when a lot of women had to come out of their houses and go and work into the workplace, like Rosa the Riveter, I think she's out of Lee's, kind of set that off. So it's just different things with women leading up that had challenging times. It's not as bad as it was then, but, you know, we have our obstacles that we have to face. But we're women, we're strong. We get to take a brunt of it, take a hit. We're very resilient, and we know how to bounce back. You know, they said the men has to seed, but the women raise nations. So You know, it's an honor to even take the call. You know, what few wouldn't even do. But it's like I said, I enjoy doing it.
Hmm. Marsha, what was it that you did in the Army?
Okay, I came out. I'm an E4 specialist, and my MOS was 76 Papa. They changed it to 92 Alpha. In civilian terms, that's a material control accounting specialist. Shorted up for supply. We did a lot of logistics, a lot of distributions. I did a little Mike 88, that's truck driving. You know, got to learn how to drive 18 wheelers and do a lot of maintenance and stuff. Check, you know, 9-point check your vehicles and stuff like that. Make sure it's running in an operative manner.
Wow. And how old were you when you got in the Army?
I went straight out of high school at 17, and I
Whew.
served 8 years. Matter of fact, I went in right during the time of Desert Storm, and
Mm.
that's where I met my now husband, and we've been married 30 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Wow. You know, as a mom, it would be so difficult just to, you know, to send your kids off to take on such a huge task. I can't imagine being your mom, Miss Winnie. I know Miss Winnie very well, seeing
What-
you leave and go and do something like that. And, you know, but again, I wanted to really commend you for a job that you've done in serving our country. And I really appreciate what you've done for us.
Thank
Um,
you.
Wes, you said that you served in the Navy,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Okay, so did you come straight out of high school as well?
No, I went to college first, and I did finish, and then I tried to go back, and I didn't. I moved to Tampa, and I started getting into trouble, so I needed
Mm.
a place to hide.
Okay. Wow.
So I
That's the
wouldn't.
to hide on the water, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't hear it because a recruiter picked me up in the alley.
Oh my God. So Waj, what did you do in the Army?
I was in the Navy. I did
Navy.
communication.
Navy, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I did communication. I was like a top secret clerk. Um, I was, in the Navy, you get a lot of jobs. They have you in different departments for a temporary time. I was the guy in charge of firefighting equipment, making sure that was ran right. It just basically you're doing communication. You're the guy that's getting the classified information to transfer to different people, and that's basically what my job was. Uh, I mean, it was like I enjoyed it. It worked out for my good. Put it like this here. I didn't want to go in the military, but it worked out for my good. And it opened my eyes to how the world was because when I went in it, during the time I went in, it was I hadn't been nowhere. And when you go to Japan, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Korea, Hong Kong, all them places, you start to realize, whoa, there's some poor people for real. You thought you were poor. But when you go over there to the Philippines, you realize you're blessed. And it kind of opened your eyes to a lot of things and a lot of opportunity that I probably would have never expected to see that I saw after I got out.
Mhm. Wow. You know, you mentioned something about you may have been a problem kid at the time. Um, what was it about the military that was able to, I guess, set you on a good path?
Well, it was more of it was stability, being
Mm.
stable, and at the same time is I would say it's just kind of like it was just more of a balance. I was just more balanced,
Mhm.
and then you got it helped you be more responsible because see in the military if you don't pay your bills you get kicked out.
Mhm.
Wow.
So if you don't pay your bills, you can get kicked out for not paying your bills. So you had to learn how to pay your bills while you was in there.
So you were taught responsibility,
Right.
you were taught structure, which are you saying that maybe being outside the military, you didn't have the structure?
Right. I was more like I didn't have a role model. I didn't have a father that was a role model.
Mm.
So, it's like things that you should have learned as a young man from your father, he wasn't there. So when you go in the military, you got the older guys, they will always try to talk to you. And they would tell me, like, Wash, before you get out, get your degree. I'm like, oh, whatever. But the thing about it, they had accomplished things that I was trying to accomplish, but I was kind of arrogant, prideful. But at the time, I didn't realize it then. But now, as I got older, I started to realize. But it was more structure, like you said. It's more structure as far as like being disciplined,
Mm.
you know, and a responsibility. Like a lot of men, they can just bail on a woman or can bail on their bills. I ain't gonna pay this. I ain't gonna worry about it. There you couldn't do that. You had a standard that was required. You had to follow, or you wasn't gonna be in.
Wow. So I'm interested, and then we'll go to John. So, with you being that guy that kind of marched to your own beat, didn't really like a lot of structure or being told what to do, what made you stick and stay? Because you could have easily said, you know what, forget this, I'm out.
I had set goals.
Mm.
I set goals. I wanted to go to the Olympics. Almost had a chance to make to try it at the trials for track and field and martial arts.
Okay.
And I had goals. I was trying to go back to college, get my degree. I was busy. I was productive, even though I was pretty much a loner, but I was productive. I had goals set, and when you got goals set and you in a position in a place where you can almost obtain them, you kind of got to go along with the program in order to accomplish your goals. And
Mm.
that's what kind of helped. When you got people that don't have, you can tell the difference. If you work in a restaurant, you can tell the difference between the college students and the people that don't go to college,
Mm.
because the college students don't let the negativity affect them because they got goals outside of that job.
Wow.
They got bigger plans. So
Mm.
when you got a plan, the negativity a lot of time in goals that don't really affect you. But if you don't set any goals, you know what I'm saying? You just flying with the wind.
Wow. And so, at the age of, let's say, you said that was it after college?
I went
You-
to uh, I went to DeVry in Atlanta,
Okay.
and I didn't finish. I wanted to be an engineer,
Okay.
so I had to drop out. I had to take care of my brothers and my sisters, and my mother was, she had to go in the hospital. Me being the oldest. Once she got out, I tried to go to Florida State. Well, I tried to get a scholarship at FAMU, but Florida State wanted to give me a partial scholarship. I didn't accept it, and I just kind of moved and stayed with family. When I got around that family, that's when the trouble all started happening. I
Mm.
had I had to run for my life, and I ain't had nowhere to go. And I was like, okay, here I come, military.
And the rest is history, right?
That's it.
Wow, wow. So John, John, you are a businessman. You run a very successful business. You're part of a very prestigious fraternity, and you have always been one that's forward thinking. Do you contribute some of that to you serving in the army?
Yeah, yes, a lot. And let me just see, my path to the military was kind of weird. I also went in straight out of high school, 17 years old, turned 20, turned 18 doing basic training out in the field. They gave me no party. But when I look back on it, what was really ironic, my father was a World War II veteran,
Mhm.
and he never discussed his time in the military, his service, anything. Even when I went in. So it's not like he encouraged me to go in. But at that point, I was really a decent athlete in school. I was a great student, but nobody. I had five brothers, five sisters. No one had ever gone to college at that point, and I was kind of in the middle. So I really didn't know what to do.
Mhm.
So a friend of mine talked me into going down to the recruiting office, and we joined up on what they had called a buddy system back then. They would give you the guarantee the first duty station with the person you enlisted with. So we go down to Montgomery, take the physical, take the test. He failed the physical. Now he was the one encouraging us to go in the military. And so I thought once he failed, I said, okay, we just get on the bus and go back to Birmingham. They said that, but they told me down. They said, well, I said, I'm ready to go back home. We said, why? They said, I said, well, my friend not going in.
Right, right.
He said, the Army, the thing about the Army, whatever they promise you, generally they're going to give to you. They said, we could guarantee this stuff, but that didn't mean if he failed a physical, you don't have to go in. So because you signed your own contract. But and I appreciate the compliments you gave me before, and I can tell you more about my military service. But even with all the things I've done, you forgot to say I'm a proud graduate of H. Parker High School also. But I still say I learned more.
What a shameless plug, John.
Nah, but in reality, I would say I learned more in the military than I did in college. Yeah, I learned more in the military than I even in all my business. The military was the foundation that set me on the right path. Cause I was young and dumb and had no. I was just and the thing about it, as far as my military service goes, as the young lady said, when she used the term MOS, that means your job in the military. And I had basically in the military, you have a combat job, you have a support job. And I was in an all-male combat unit. I was a combat engineer, which is the home of the combat engineers at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. My only time in Missouri in my life, and I've never went back. But it built the foundation for me, my start, because the thing that the military did for me as a kid was it put me in an environment where I had a bunch of men in charge of me who did not care about what I thought about things or my feelings. There's an old saying, there's the right way, the wrong way, and the Army way.
Right.
If you success, and see, one of the things I had holding me back in the military, and none of my just saying is I was very smart, right? That's not what the Army looking for. Pretty much no branches, maybe in the Navy and the Air Force, they're more technically inclined. They don't want any creativity. Do it their way, and you will be successful. And so I did 4 years. 3.5 of those were in the 237 Engineer Battalion at Heidelberg, Germany. And just like the other brother saying, what helped me was it got me out of Birmingham, and I was able to see stuff that I never would have seen here. And I got to meet even different cultures and people from within the United States. It was a great learning experience. So, and of course, I don't want to dominate the conversation. I could go on, but if you have any specific questions, I'd be happy to answer. And I just left the Veterans Day parade.
Oh, really? Were you in the parade?
No, they don't want me down there. I just enjoy going by and seeing all of the like ROTC programs and the different branches of the service. And then my unit that I served in, I actually got out of the Army in 1981. So I've been out a long time, but we have a group on Facebook that we still stay in contact with each other, even up to this day. And I actually still have contact with a lot of the people I met in Germany to this day. So it was a great learning experience. Like I said, that's why I say I learned more in the military than I even learned in college.
Wow. When I think about those experiences that all of you have mentioned and going different places, and this summer I just got back from South Africa, and it just totally changed my life. Being in another country, and Marsha, Wash, John, you guys can speak to this because that's a norm for what you did in the military. Me going to someplace like South Africa was just totally different because all I knew was the States. Yeah. And so it gave me a better appreciation just for overall being. Knowing that there's another way of thinking, there's another way of living, there's another way of culture, there's just another way. And so would you recommend something like this? Wash, you said that one of the reasons how you were able to get in is because of the lifestyle that you were living as a young person. So would you recommend someplace like the Navy for some of these children who are kind of in disarray a little bit, need a little structure? Would you recommend the Navy for some of these kids?
See, for some maybe, but not for all, because now in the Navy, I had to deal with it was a lot of racism still going on. a lot of racism, and that's something they don't talk about. And it's cliquish. It's real cliquish. You have to learn how to keep your mouth shut. Even I don't care how hard it is, you have to keep your mouth shut because the inner clique, they're gonna look after each other. And some of the people, some kids I talk to now, I say, look, you ever thought about the military? Go 2 years. Don't go for it. Don't go, you know what I'm saying? Go 2 years. Go reserve. Go do something like that. That right there, because if they don't like it, they're not gonna mess up. They're doing reserve.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That will help. But some kids, I just don't recommend. Some of them are so smart that they can go to college and they can do well. And a lot of times you don't. Some of the kids, I say this. I didn't want to go in the military. Now I was a guy that just barely got by in high school. But then when I went to college, I didn't know I was good with the electronics.
Mhm.
I had a professor. He said, "Man, you have a head for numbers." I didn't know this. I'm doing algebra and all this stuff. I didn't know what I was doing. I never had nobody to push me. I had never had nobody to encourage me. You know, all they told me was, "You got to get you a job and get yourself together, find you a little piece of property." That's it. You know, it wasn't about going and going to school. I was trying to better myself. I
Mhm.
looked around. I seen my aunts, my uncles. I seen where they was at, and I seen how they were struggling. And nobody was ambitious. Nobody was trying to get their own business. Nobody was doing anything. And that's what I said. I'm gonna make something out of myself.
Mhm.
And I told myself, even my father, you know, he passed away, but he was an alcoholic, and he was never there. I made a promise to myself that I would never be like him.
Mm.
And then not realizing that that affected my brother, my younger brother. He was following behind me. I didn't even know it, you know. And it kind of helped because I was always pushing to be better, and that something was personal. It wasn't nothing like for somebody else. It was for me. I wanted to be somebody, but like I say, the military is not for everybody
Right.
because if you go in there and you're not prepared to accept what's coming, you're not gonna stay there long. You know, and if you always gonna be rebellious, you're not gonna stay there long. So
Mhm.
I tell them it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody because see, like you gotta look at this generation now. When we grew up, it was more discipline. When
Right.
mama said get out the house, you got out the house.
Mhm.
You know, when they tell you to go to bed, you went to bed. Whatever they told you, it wasn't no back talk. It wasn't none of that. This generation now, they got their own mind.
Mm.
So it's kind of depend on the individual. I tell a young person if you want some structure, go to reserves. If you like it, go ahead and go active duty.
Mm.
Mm. Now that's wisdom, and I think it's also good for people who are listening to this now, and maybe some parents who are listening and was maybe considering if you don't do blah blah blah, I'm going to put you in the army, or you're going to put you in the service, and that's a good thing to know, because sometimes what parents are thinking is not always the best way.
Right.
And so Marsha, would you say that being in the military is a call?
Yes, it truly is a call, and that was one I was willing to accept as an early age. I know he was throwing this shout out to class of '89 Inslee High School, and
Where's
that's
that
what I did.
located?
That's what I did my ROTC. I did my ROTC
I'm
through high
saying, where's
school.
Inslee High School located?
Well, right now it's in my heart, and it'll be forever. It'll be forever EHS, baby. Look, the sting is always back. But I
I
did
just
my
want to know.
ROTC all through high school, and out of high school, when I started attending Lawson, they didn't have ROTC at Lawson because it's a 2-year college. So they allowed me to go to UAB and Lawson at the same time, so I could take ROTC at UAB. So by the time it was time for me to go straight on into basic training, South Carolina, Fort Jackson, I was already going in as an E3. Yeah, and then I wound up in AIT, which is Fort Lee, Virginia. I wound up becoming a platoon guide of the year. got my promotion E4 while in basic training. And then, like I said, by that time it was at the heart of the war, because during that time the war it really kind of started doing cold talks in August of '90, but the war actually set off January 15, 1991. Yeah, so like I said, serving during a time as war, a lot of teens or young people don't want to get involved. But if you're willing to accept that call, for the better good of your country, for the better good of your family, you'll take it. I didn't hesitate at all. I did see some other areas of travel, Central America and El Salvador. I got attached to a National Guard. I think one of the young men here said about National Guard for those that don't want to do full time. You could do National Guard. Shout out the 715th Maintenance Unit. It used to be out of Wylam, Alabama. And then we merged in with the 644th out of Bessemer, Alabama unit. And I really enjoyed it. You go in single, but you come out family. You have a family bond. Once you find that person that's a ride or die for you, it's forever family. But he did say some things that touched some points about you do have cliques, you do have form of racism, but overall, I know at least with Army, we all Army green. It's not a red, it's not a blue. We green and forever green. And anybody I run across, no matter what branch of military you're in, Navy, Air Force, Marines, no matter what, I treat everybody as my family, because that's something that we all endure that no civilian would never understand. Yeah, so I thank all the veterans, males and females, for their service.
I love it. And Gloria just mentioned, she said she went into the military so she could leave the state of Alabama. And so, and I was thinking, when I thought about what John was saying, because he went because of one of his friends was trying to encourage him to go. And so, Marsha, you mentioned about the family and the unit and the oneness. I think Wash, you mentioned the same thing. John, would you say that maybe that was one of the reasons why you decided to stay for the period of time that you did, because of the brotherhood, because of the family, because of the connection?
Yes, and as just to piggyback on what Marsha said, see, the brotherhood in a combat engineering unit is probably 10 times what it is in a regular Army unit, because the combat engineers actually went in before the infantry.
Right.
So we cleared the way for them. So we just thought we were the baddest thing on God's green earth. And while on active duty, we didn't like any other units in the military. So, and that's why I think we still had that close bond to this day. And so, yeah, the unity is there.
So what would you say to someone who's considering going to the military? Would you encourage them to do so, or what would you say to someone?
Just like the other brother said earlier, it just would depend on the individual. It's there are kids who came to me who I knew have watched grow up, and I discouraged them from going in. But there are also kids I said, this might be something good for you.
Right.
It depends on the individual. And I'm caught up in the late 70s, early 80s military, and I know in a lot of ways that military doesn't even exist anymore. But it was a much harder initiation process back then. Because back then, I didn't realize it was illegal. Back then, the drill sergeant, they were able to put their hands on you. It was illegal then, but you didn't know it. Yeah, you didn't know it, and if it happened, you didn't complain, because, like the brother said, there are other forms of discipline in the military are much worse than that. Because you can get in trouble for anything. You don't feel like going to work, you get in trouble for that. You don't want to shave. So it's a very structured system. And that's why I said I enjoyed my 4 years, but from day one, I never had any intention of going over that. Because like I said, I went in and I served my country, and I remember my mother even saying, why don't you just do the other 16? All you have to do is 20 years and retire. I said, yeah, but they want the best 20 years. They don't want you from 40 to 60. They want you from 50 to 40. Or that, so it just, and like I said, I love the Army to this day, but it just it's not for everybody.
Right. You know, as we wrap up tonight, because I want to be considerate of your time as we're celebrating you, I would like to each individual person I want you to encourage a young person tonight. And Marsha, we're going to start with you, and you know, each one of you will be on the screen separate, and then we'll all come back together. But just to give you guys an opportunity, just to encourage a young person, um, and if you could encourage them to a way of, you know, if they're stuck in a space to where they feel like they're not good enough, they're not smart enough, they're not king enough, or they may have some low self-esteem, I would like for you to speak to those young people. And when I say young people, you know, I'm speaking from, you know, maybe middle school all the way up to about their 30s. Because there's been some young people out here who are really having some depression issues, and just, you know, them feeling like they're not good enough, or their value is just not there. And so, and Marsha, like I said, we'll start with you, but I wanted to give each one of you an opportunity to speak to that young person, if you don't mind. Okay,
Right.
we'll start
If
with
you
you.
hear, if you hear me out there, I want you to stay encouraged and have hope. And I also want you to get a closer relationship with God, because He will be your guiding light to wherever challenges you may face. It's not always what people do to you, it's how you respond. So I want you to keep your head up, find something that you're good at, that you're willing to do for free. If you can do it for free, that you're good at it, people will be willing to pay for it. And be your best advocate, your best supporter. But in order to get that, you got to surround yourselves about with like-minded people. So I'm sending my best clap of praise for you to keep with it, stay in the fight, and never give up.
For the ones that are listening, I just say this. First of all, if you put God first and ask Him to order your steps, you may not want to go the direction that He's ordering, but it'll work out for your good. And another thing, have goals, but keep them goals to yourself. Do not expose what you're trying to accomplish to too many people, because some people, they are there for you when things are good, but when things don't go right, they're not around. And you don't want somebody that is envious of you, but and hoping that you fail, and you don't know this until later on. So what you want to do, you want to set goals. You want to set goals without letting people know what your goals are, and and always acknowledge God. Always take time out. If you can be consistent for 5 minutes a day, and to read one scripture a day, I believe God will order your steps.
My words of encouragement to the young people will be that it's hard to realize this when you're 16, 17, 18, 19, even in your early 20s. But life truly is a marathon and not a sprint. There are things that you might be suffering through now. You have to just stay strong and stay faithful, and just suffer through it, because the things that may have you depressed today, you'll look back on it in 10 years and say, man, that was nothing. So set your goals, and one of the most important things you do, try to learn from every situation that you're in. And not only learn from the situation, seek out true knowledge about this world, about history, about our plight as a people, black and white in this country, throughout the world, because in the end, we all one humanity. So, but you have to expose you have sometimes the best way to learn is you go through things, but you have to get out of the same area you're in, and that'll give you an opportunity to open your eyes up and see life from a different perspective. And you'll look back in 5 years and 10 years and 20 years, and you'll see what you've really accomplished, and how the things you think are just you willing to just go to the mat for right now won't even be important to you in those days.
Wow, guys, this is just a wealth of knowledge here tonight. And I always like to end my show with these encouraging words because everyone has a different perspective. All of you are in the military, but your words of encouragement came from different spaces that I believe every young person needs to hear. Not just young people, but just people in general. Don't give up, hang in there, set goals, live an intentional life, making sure that you are exposing yourself. Get out there and live, get outside of your comfort zone, and just expose yourself to things that make you feel a little uncomfortable. You know, these are things that we all can live by. These are things that we all can put within ourselves and that we can really truly set our life on that foundation. I wanted to mention something about what Gloria stated. And this is something, guys, that we really didn't touch on during the show. If you don't mind, we're going to touch on that just a little bit and then we'll wrap up. But Gloria said it's an individual thing and that she was in the Air Force and she stayed 10 years and she got to travel the world. And she said that she did have some dark days in the military, ending with PTSD. Now, that is something that a lot of people in the military deal with from different aspects, different reasons. Do you feel that the services for you as veterans are readily accessible for people like that who deal with PTSD or some other types of things that are out there? Do you feel that the services are readily accessible for veterans?
I'll start first. It's getting better, but they still have a long process to go, especially with people of African descent. A lot of claims get denied so quickly, or we don't have the adequate care that we need. And it may be even worse, even with females. You know, they say that our pain is not considered pain. We can endure more pain. And then a lot of the healthcare facilities were more predominantly cared for men than women until they have to now start building care facilities just for women. You know, you wouldn't want women soldiers going in the hospital with the male soldiers and they probably had sexual trauma. So it's different facets of healthcare that women may need different than men may need. Yeah, but it's definitely challenging. I know with me, when I was trying to get my benefits, it took 25 years just to get 40%. And I had people to die on me, hospitals to close on me, people to transfer, and calling that 1-800 number every 6 months when doing a job. I had to wind up getting attorneys. I'm now at 90, but look how many years I had to fight. The internet didn't come out to 2004. And anybody that's trying to get their benefits now, they may can get a faster response now due to the internet. And that's just me. There's Vietnam vets and some of the remainings of World War II vets. A lot of men say, forget it. I'm not going to fight with the government trying to get benefits and won't even get the care at all. So, yeah, with the PTSD and tinnitus and sleep apnea, just a lot of, cases that veterans may go through, the trauma never goes away. It'll subside, but it won't go away. Things you see how people live in, how he said in other countries, third world countries, make you appreciate the blessings you have here in the States. But that trauma would never go away. So I appreciate that they're now making mental health awareness to the forefront, because mental health is just as equal as physical health. Right. And we're getting better, but we have a long way to go.
John, what's your take on it?
Well, see, my time in service was a little bit different. See, when I went in, it was right at the end of the Vietnam War. Because technically the GI Bill changed in 1976,
right?
1976 on active duty in 77. So now you had a lot of those issues that the veterans who, like, especially with the non-commissioned officers that had been in for 10 years, 15 years, was suffering from Vietnam. They were still in the military when I got there. So as far as direct PTSD contact, there was not a lot of that going on because strictly because of the time that I was in service. But I do have some issues with the VA, but I'd rather just be in a strictly veterans forum to even talk about those.
Gotcha. Wash.
All I can say is it's more like when it comes to the VA, a lot of times to me it's in Birmingham always treated me good.
Right.
The service there. I always got even up north, I got treated good when I went in. I got taken care of quick. But in order to get certain things, sometimes you got to know somebody. You have to know the right people, because and you have to kind of move silently and kind of it's almost like you kind of infiltrate, find out who's who to get what you want, because like I said, I was at the VA up in Wisconsin, and the doctor told me you're not gonna be able to get in here. I said, what do you mean? She said, I said, well, I get a job here. No, you're a vet. Yeah, but it's a clique. She told me straight up. And so you have to know somebody. And you have to kind of, you can get benefits, but it's to get the extreme favor, you got to know somebody. And in Birmingham, I will say this. There are a group of Black men, and they're between Birmingham and Montgomery. And they work silently to help Black vets.
Wow.
They work silently to help Black vets. And they sometimes you'll be surprised. They looked at me and it told me exactly some of the problems I was already having. I said, man, how you know this? You Army, I'm Navy. They already knew. So it's like, and they'll tell you you can get this amount of money. Some people get $6,000 a month. So, like I said, a lot of times it's good to have, but to get that extreme favor, you really have to know somebody to get there. You got to really have some favor, because I know some people right now, they're trying their best to get 100%. And one of them been at at least 25, 30 years, still trying. And I said, man, and he said, I refuse to go in and lie, because if it lie, he's going to get it.
That's right.
Because I think one of his family members lied, and they getting 100%.
Wow.
So you got to deal with that. And see, me, I just ain't that type of person. I'm just gonna be straight up. If I need it, I'm gonna use it. But if I don't need it, I ain't gonna bother with it. I'm not gonna have to lie to get it. That's one thing. I that's just me. But as far as the VA,
Miss Clarissa.
Yes, ma'am.
And what they call PTSD now, back then they call it shell shock.
Yes.
I've heard that term before. Yes.
Right. It's been called shell shock for a long time. And he mentioned some things during his training, like doing George Floyd with the foot on your neck. They did that in the military. We had boots on our neck, boots on our backs. But now they don't do all that.
Right.
If they're having a problem with drill sergeants or stuff, the drill sergeant have to give them a mental card. We didn't have mental cards. They say, here's a mental card, go to the station and get checked out. Oh no. We had to suck it up and drive on.
Amen.
Wow.
So the training back then, the children today wouldn't put up what we put up back then. And then even going before I was even born, during my grandfather time, World War II, they did all the fighting, and then they come home and be treated like third class or non-citizens, and couldn't get benefits or anything. So like I said, we've come a long way, but we got a long way to go. We may be losing battles, but we're not going to lose the war.
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed, and I got another guest I'm going to bring in as well. I see him in the lobby. I'm excited. This is a wonderful surprise for me tonight. But we, once a soldier, always a soldier.
Right.
And so what I'm feeling here and what I'm seeing here is that, the fight continues, whether you have on your uniform or not. Is in you, is what you do. And so I'm so very grateful for what you're doing, how you're serving, and that you're bringing what you've learned out there and you're bringing it back to civilians to pour back into community, to be able to help our young people. I always go back to young people because they're looking for role models. And when we have a live like this, this live needs to be shared on every network of people who are listening. This needs to be shared on your Facebook pages. You need to take this link, text people that you know to get them on the show, because the gems that are being shared here tonight are priceless. They're priceless. And and I'm so grateful that you guys have decided to hang out with me tonight and to really share and take your time to talk with me tonight. And and you didn't have to do that, but you did. And we are very grateful. And again, I appreciate everything that you have done for us. You not have done this for me, but you've done it for my children. And whenever they decide to get married and have kids, then it'll be for my grandkids too. I'm really appreciative of everything that you're doing and how you have served our country. And I pray that you had a good day today. So I know there was some free stuff out there for our veterans and nice parking in different places. I know over at Lowe's, they always have special parking for veterans. Have y'all ever used that parking space?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have y'all used that
I
parking?
have. I have.
Yeah. So they have some special things there too. And we went by there today and saw that. So again, I thought I saw someone come in. Okay, there he is. My pastor is a veteran as well. I'm going to bring him in so he can share the stage with us tonight. Pastor Sean.
Hey, Miss Clarissa, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Great to be here. This is a wonderful show. I've been enjoying myself just listening to all my fellow service members, man. What a great way to celebrate those who serve. And it feels good that people still remember us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Pastor, I'm excited that you're in the room tonight. We have been just, really talking about what everyone did. I think you're from the Army as well. Wash, I keep on saying Wet. Wash is the only one from the Navy. So but he's thrown in there. So Pastor Sean is my pastor. He's the pastor of Empowerment Word Church in Alabaster, Alabama. Pastor Sean, could you share with us, exactly what you did in the Army, how long you were there, and about your experience?
Well, I joined the Army in 1988, and I was mostly on the reserve side. So I spent 11 years as an enlisted soldier. I went in as a field artillery guy, and then I crossed over to being a military police, what we call 95 Bravo. I've done that for 11 years, and I still felt the call of leadership. I was looking around the Army, and I was like, hey, I can be an officer. So the Lord opened the door for me over at UAB ROTC, and I got a chance to get commissioned through UAB ROTC. And I was commissioned for 11 years. So I went in on active duty. I left my job. I went on active duty. I got stationed at Fort Lee, Virginia, and I was a logistics officer, what we call now 90 Alpha. Logistics is my background. We used to call him quartermaster, but they kind of switched it over to quartermaster. Yeah. And so I ended up being I had a couple assignments, from the platoon leader to the XO to the petroleum operations officer. I deployed to the Middle East. Well, let me back up. I went to Korea in 2001, did an assignment in Korea. And then in 2002, I deployed to Operation Joint Forge to Bosnia for 6 months. Soon I got home, they deployed me to, they was getting ready to deploy me to the Middle East, but I went to the JAG because I said, hey, I got 180 days stabilization. Y'all, I just got back in theater. Y'all can't send me to the Middle East until I've been home for at least 6 months. And I had to do research. I mean, I'm a legal background law enforcement guy, so I had to pull the book out on them. Because the Army will deploy you.
Mm-hmm.
But long story short, I was deployed in February 2003 to Operation Iraqi Freedom, landed in Camp Udari, Camp Arif John, stayed over there for 5-6 months. led some soldiers as the sub area petroleum officer. And once my time was up, I came back home. I finished up on the reserve side of the house. And so I did 6 years active duty. I did 16 years as an Army reservist, and I retired as an Army major in 2010.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it was quite a few things. I just fast forward a little bit. I got some great stories, man. The military for me was a lifesaver. It taught me discipline, taught me structure. It taught me teamwork. It taught me time management. It taught me operations. It exposed me to some responsibility at a young age. That's the thing that the military will do for you. It'll take an 18-year-old, a 19-year-old, or 20-year-old, put you responsible over equipment, over people. I mean, it was serious. It was serious. So, but it was good. It was a good thing for me.
So now, Pastor Sean, were you married during the time that you were in the military?
Absolutely. Well, when I first joined in '88, I wasn't. I married my high school sweetheart. The interesting thing, I took the ASVAB while I was at Woodlawn High School in 11th grade, and they had a delayed entry program. And so once I graduated, I went off the basic training in the AIT. I came home, worked for a couple years, and then I became an MP in 1991. I became a Birmingham police officer in '93, but I married my high school sweetheart in '92. So Lady Gwen, my wife, I call her Lady Gwen. She served with me the whole time. At least 20 of the 22 years. Well, actually, she was dating me, so we were dating. So yeah, the whole 22 years.
Wow. You know, I want to ask you something from another aspect as it relates to being married and being in the military.
Yeah.
Because you were still doing a lot of traveling. I'm not sure if Lady Gwen was able to take those travels with you. And sometimes you were gone for extensive amounts of time. How are you able to keep the stability of your marriage during that time?
I tell you, Gwen and I always talk about how when we went on active duty, we were stationed at Fort Lee. We wanted to make it feel like home immediately. So what I ended up doing was, number one, we got moved in. Number two, we went and found us a church home. And my wife and our 3 kids, we started visiting churches probably within the first 2 weeks. And I was like, hey, we got to get connected spiritually. Let's find us somewhere to go, take the whole family. And so we found us a great church. And then the second thing, they have a lot of organizations on post for the parent. I can't think of the name right now. Maybe somebody else can remember. Or maybe my wife might remind me. It was anytime I got deployed, all the wives, they used to have these meetings every week or every 2 weeks. And they would support all the soldiers, kids, and wives when most of us was deployed. So we had a great support system. Oh my God, we had an amazing support system. Here's the interesting thing: when you're on post, everybody is going through the same thing. So the reality is everybody support each other. That's it. Thank you, Gwen. It's the family readiness group. The family readiness group is what they call on the active Army posts or even in the reserves. A family readiness group is really strong. When I became a commander, it was like, that's something I used to always push. I said, hey, listen, you need to join a family readiness group because it's some great support. And so that's how we made it. And so our church family readiness group. And then my wife started connecting with other wives whose husbands were deployed, who had kids. So they would talk the same talk, experience the same thing, talk about the commissary, talk about what's not going well, what they not doing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a big family, one big family.
Wow. You know, it's so many different aspects to being in the military. And for someone on the outside, a civilian looking in, you know, it's good to hear and to learn that there's so many forms of resources there to help aid your service and to do what you do, because, you know, that could be very disheartening if you're married and you don't have that support. You're not with your kids, you're not with your wife, or being, you know, young like Wash was, you know, young in college age, and John being young, Marsha 17, you know, that's a lot. And to know that those resources are there, to know that that type of foundation is there to make sure that you guys were able to do and to really stay focused in serving our country. And so, Sean, I don't want to keep you on here long, Pastor Sean, but I know you kind of popped in here on the last minute, but I want to bring you, because I ask everyone to speak to the young people, to encourage them, keep them going, keep them motivated. And everyone really had some amazing things to say, from, staying in there, hanging in there, to getting exposure, getting out of your comfort zone, to setting goals, and to, really encourage them. So I want to bring you to the forefront, if you will. And if you could just share just a brief encouragement to some young people, or I'll tell you what, we'll switch it up a little bit, Pastor Sean.
Right.
If you can speak to those people who are currently serving our country, that may be dealing with some emotional instability, some low self-esteem, or dealing with some issues that's not keeping them in the best light. If you can encourage those people who are currently serving our country.
Well, listen, I first want to start off and congratulate and salute all those guys and girls who are serving the United States military. Man, we appreciate you. We need you, especially in times like this. You guys are our superheroes. You decided to take an oath and join the United States military. So I applaud you. And I want to let you know, listen, there's help in the military. Sometimes we take on everything. We take on all the responsibilities. Connect with somebody. One of the things they taught us a long time ago was the buddy system. Talk to your friend, talk to your buddy, share some personal things that you might be dealing with. Reach out, let somebody know you need some help. One of the most challenging times that I had on active duty one time is to lose a soldier. I'll never forget him. He's always with me. And sometimes I think I wish we could have done something more. But the reality is it takes everybody involved, even the individual, that if you might be experiencing some challenges, some mental health, or just having one of those days where you feel like the world is caving in, you feel like things aren't going like you wanted to go, maybe not making enough money. Listen, talk to somebody. There are services there on post for you, wherever you're stationed. Let your commanders know, let your NCOs know what's going on. Because without you being healthy, it's going to be kind of challenging for you to do your job. It's going to be kind of challenging for you to focus. But I want to encourage you to hang in there. I want to encourage you to continue staying in, because 20 years have passed by. I'm a fan of doing a career, or I'm a fan of serving in the military. So again, if there's something that you need, let somebody know. The chaplains and all the branches of service are a great resource. The chaplain office is a great place to go talk to the guys and girls. They have chaplain assistants who are really, I ran into some of my best friends and individuals that encouraged me when I was missing my wife, missing my kids. I was missing the civilian world. I just was having a moment. And I would connect with some individuals who were part of the chaplaincy team, the chaplain staff, or we have some people who were just good people to talk to. And so if you're out there and you're serving and you're having one of those moments, let somebody know you're not by yourself. And it's okay. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you like, since you got, you rank, or maybe you're a supervisor, maybe you feel like I can't tell anybody. Man, that is one of the biggest deceptions, I think, that in the service that happens. We're supposed to be strong. We don't go to sick call. We don't supposed to let anybody know that we're having a challenging moment. But listen, we need you. We need you to continue serving, and our country depends on you. But you got to take care of yourself first. You are important, and if you can't take care of yourself, then everything else is going to be challenged. Your families be challenged. Your kids will be challenged. And so I would always encourage folks, man, get some help. Talk to somebody. Talk to your buddy on the left, on the right, the person that that's in your unit, in your platoon, or in your staff, or, let somebody know. And I think you'll be able to continue. And when you look back on it, like some of us veterans tonight, when you look back over your service, you're like, wow, I'm glad I hung in there. It was great. And so that's pretty much it. I think, again, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service.
I love it. You had mentioned something that it's kind of a buzzword on self-care, and us girls, we always believe in some good self-care. Now we're going to always have that.
Yeah.
But it's so good to know self-care is so broad, and everyone needs to implement it, especially our veterans. If you self-care, if you stay on top of it, then you'll be able to get ahead of some things so it don't get out of control.
Absolutely.
You know, you're implementing it now is one of the things I would say to young people when I'm teaching etiquette classes. I said, stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And so, and I would have to say the same for here tonight. But you guys have just really made my night. Pastor Sean, this is an amazing surprise for you to pop on tonight. And I believe that what was shared here tonight is such a wealth of knowledge. And not only I believe, you know, we're always talking about how our veterans served our country, but based on what I'm hearing here tonight, it seems that our United States has served you, all of you, in some type of way that you were able to take away something that made you who you are today.
Absolutely.
And I know each and every one of you, tonight was my first night meeting Wash, and it's just been an amazing experience for him, me meeting him as well. But from what I know about each and every one of you, I am so forever grateful for the path and the journey that all of you have taken, because I believe it has made my life better just by being connected with you. So again, thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice that you've made, not only for me and my generation, but the entire United States of America. So again, thank you. Thank you for being in the ladies' room. Wash was a little nervous, Pastor Sean, because I was like, welcome to the ladies' room. He was looking like, what?
What? I know. It's the name, Wash. It's the name. The ladies' room.
But you survived, Wash, so that's good.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
And thank you, Pastor Sean, for training me since 2005 with the Birmingham Police Academy Citizens.
Yeah, I was looking there, Miss Crawford. Yeah.
It's me. I've been volunteering with them now, going on 20 years.
Wow, I think you was in my largest class. I think.
Yes, I was the class president.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is a small world. Wow.
That's what we do in the ladies' room. That's what we do. We talk.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was the director for the Citizen Police Academy in Birmingham PD for several years, and we used to. You know, my job was to reach out, develop a curriculum, reach out to all the citizens in Birmingham, and bring in some people and expose them to the police department. And I remember, the awesome job. So you've been serving a long time now. Wow.
Yeah, 20 years. It was you were my instructor, and McNair.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Me and Katrina. Wow. Wow.
Small world.
Wow.
Small world. And John, I want to thank you for being good. I know it was hard. You being good and nice to me. That's difficult for you as well. Now, let's put my hand for that one, because I was afraid. I'm gonna cut this live before he gets started. But again, y'all, thank you so much for joining us here. Very, very appreciative of it. And those of you who are still on the air, please be sure to share this with your network of friends. Information that was shared here tonight, life-changing for so many people, and very, very helpful. The gems and the words of encouragement that were left here by the guest tonight was just nothing short but amazing. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining me inside the Ladies Room Talk Show, and be sure to tune in next Monday, 7:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. See you later on. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Step into the ladies' room with Clarissa.